Hello
Okay.
everyone, this is Yu Tsai. Welcome to Let's Talk. And today I'm so excited. I'm smiling, I'm grinning because I get to talk to another Asian sister from a different mother. And thank you for the introduction from our dear friend Miss J, that I get to be here to speak to Emmy-winning host from The Real, as well as a woman has broken so many glass ceilings along her way, paving roads for Asian Americans' hope in Hollywood industry. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So everyone, this is none other than Jeannie Mai.
Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited to meet your community, Yu Tsai. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And my community is your community. It's all
Thank you.
together. Solidarity.
I have to say, your community is so refreshing because you have an audience of people that love to learn. They want to be open-minded. They want to understand perspectives. I love your IG lives. This is so cool.
Well, thank you so much. And you know, when this IG Live started, truly it was about fashion and about beauty in a very early stage of the pandemic. And it's just so my community, as you say, the creative people have outlets. And after 2 weeks of doing lives with me, every single one of them branched off and started doing their own so they can communicate.
Wow.
And that was something that I really wanted everybody to do, because my background is in marketing and advertising, and I knew that an outlet needs to happen for us who are going to be isolated. We need to make friends digitally or whatever that outlet may be. And so I'm so proud of all my friends who are giving tutorial makeups and exercises and all of it. But then,
it's really important because even though at this time everybody is obviously recommended or urged to socially distance, that doesn't mean that we should emotionally distance. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. When you socially distance, obviously the proximity of distance is important. But when you emotionally distance yourself from people, you can really bring yourself to a place of not just loneliness, but a place of disconnect from human beings that we're not meant to do. Human beings are meant to connect. You're meant to have touch, or you're meant to exchange ideas. You're meant for somebody to wake you up, pull you out of bed, encourage you. And so when you emotionally distance yourself, you can put yourself in a dangerous place because you only have the voices up here to talk to, and that's not always a good thing.
and you know what? I'm so happy you said that, because this is actually Minority Mental Health Month, and for you to touch upon that is so poignant, because in the Asian culture, we don't talk about mental health openly. It's just not something that we do. We kind of just bury it and go, that doesn't exist. And growing up, and I know that you're born in San Jose, and I moved out here when I was about 12, so I feel like I was born in America. But even growing up in America, culturally, we just don't discuss that. And it is a really hard for, especially I think for community, like Asian community or Latino community, Black community, that family is everything. You get together all the time. And we've gone through a couple of holidays now that I don't get to play mahjong. It's driving me crazy. You know, it's like, this is what I do with my family. I cook and I play mahjong with them. And I don't get to do that because they're older, and I have to really, really respect their space and make sure that I'm not going to expose anything to them. So it is a really, really difficult time. And through Let's Talk and through watching everybody jumping on and still producing shows like The Real and talking to people over Zoom and all those things, I remember in the very beginning when I started doing this, people was, who's going to watch this? Who's going to do Zoom calls? But guess what? I love peeking into people's bedrooms and their kitchens and their living rooms and go, now that's real.
Yes, I think it's actually important. Real. Yes, absolutely got real. And I think for people out there, for all your community, Yu Tsai, it's important to make sure that with all the inundated news we get about bad news, video after video about Karens out there, right? I'm just so much madness. It's important, yes, to keep yourself abreast of the news, but also fill yourself with positive conversations so that you're breaking the narrative you may have inside. So your brain might be in repetition saying, oh, this is terrible. I lost my job. Things are never going to be the same. I'm never going to find a relationship. How am I going to start dating? My marriage sucks. If your narrative is saying this and you're by yourself in the four corners of your walls, that's always going to repeat. So that is why it is important to log on to IG lives like yours, Yu Tsai, exercise or podcasts that are empowering, and just keep it on audio and just play it while you're doing your makeup, while you're chopping your vegetables, while you're sewing, whatever it is, while you're taking a walk around your block, whatever it is you're doing, listen to IG lives like yours and allow yourself to have different dialogues so that it's not just you in your head having the same negative thoughts sometimes.
And guys, this is why she is a lifestyle guru, and that's why she's who she is today. And I personally have been following your career, and we crossed paths actually because I know you went to Singapore to do a show a couple of years ago, and we literally just crossed paths because we worked with the same production company that produced your show.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and the one that filmed for Asia's Next Top Model was the same production company that was working with you.
Yu
And they're like,
Tsai.
do you know her? I go, I don't. They're like, oh my God, if we had 1 week crossover, would have been on the same channel at the same time.
Oh, I would have. First of all, if I had met you at that time, I would have dragged you to all my favorite Hokkien stalls and all the favorite, like, you know, all the food courts in Singapore. And then I would have just broke you down and I would have made you give me lessons in posing, how to get the best lighting. Because I love your work, Yu Tsai. When you have the power to make not just women, but anybody feel beautiful, like a photographer and an artist like yourself, it's important to know that you have the eye to make anything, you capture the beauty in everything. You know what I mean? And that's a gift.
Well, what a compliment. Thank you so much. I thought we were going to talk about you today. Stop talking about me. But I want everybody to know this is that, you know, especially for the Asian American community, and I have to say is that during this pandemic, I have never felt more Asian American than ever. I always tell people that, oh, I'm colorblind when I shoot people. I don't see their color. I just photograph as who they are. And it was interesting because the other day, I was then re-educated. Being colorblind is not okay. You have to be color aware. You have to see a Black person as they are a Black person and photograph them as the best of Black person. So my narrative had to change. My paradigm had to be re-educated.
Yeah.
And it was actually through someone who I have made irresponsible jokes, and we all do because we get so close to people in our industry. We live in a bubble. We think it's okay to make these jokes, and I did make those jokes, and I have since apologized to him. But it really hurt him, and he remembered it for 9 years. And through this time, it surfaced, and I was given the opportunity to apologize, which I'm very grateful that he allowed me to. And his name is Tommy, so I hope he hears this. That it taught me such a huge lesson that doesn't matter how close you are with someone, any kind of remark that can hurt people matters. And I know we see a lot of celebrities recording, I apologize just in case I laugh at that joke. I apologize just in case. Well, I think it's so irresponsible to apologize blankly. So, right. But I take this opportunity to say that I have learned so much from that conversation with him, because I said to him, but why would you think I'm racist? I'm colorblind. I hire everybody. He goes, that's the point. You have to be aware. When you're photographing Asian person, be aware there's an Asian person in front of you. And can I tell you, what an awakening as a photographer. I thought I know it all. I thought I know my lighting. I know how to photograph people. They get on set, I know how to maneuver around everyone. Yeah. But when that paradigm changed, it changed the way that I'm casting for the next job that's coming up in a week. It changed the way that I'm going to process how I behave and how I can evoke feelings in a different way. Because like Miss J, our friend, I do things for reactive and capture the reaction from people. And boy, do I go so far that's irrelevant, inappropriate. And then we see that from so many celebrities being called out for it. And we're learning. My God, are we not learning? You know,
absolutely. Especially coming from an Asian American background, I will say specific Asian people, specific Asian cultures, Taiwanese, Cambodian, obviously Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, all of our Asian cultures have some sort of racial prejudice inside them. All of them. I'm saying that to all my people out there. I'm looking right at you. In your households, not only are there anti-Blackness in the households, but there's also colorism. There's also color. I myself, as a tan Vietnamese, I was judged all the time from my Vietnamese side of like, con đen quá, tại sao con nhìn những con nghèo? Which means like, you are so dark, you look like you're poor. Dark people look poor.
Right.
And I wouldn't even think, I would never have thought that was an inappropriate comment. I just thought that was, law. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, that's just the old Asians. Not realizing that the entire time, not only is that super colorist, but it's also very racist. And we have that in our cultures, all of our cultures. You go into any country and it's all about skin brightening creams and how to, like, you know, bounce the light and make yourself look the lightest you can look. So you're not wrong for noting that it's really bad that we would make jokes and not really understand that it can be not only very hurtful, but it's very irresponsible. And that's why today I am like you. I really am proud of being Asian American, because my American side is teaching me the inappropriateness of a lot of our old school ways and our cultured ways of thinking. So even during this time, even though I know a lot of people have canceled 2020, I know everybody's like, we've shutting it down. No, I actually think that 2020 might be the hardest but the best year yet, because 2020 has called every single one of us to stand to attention and to recognize not only what kind of person you are and what kind of actions you take, but also what kind of country you want and what kind of country you've been living in. And so it's made us all really call ourselves to the table to say, what do you have to say about this situation? How have you been standing up for your allies? And even if you say, oh, no, it's cool, I got Black friends, I'm great. Just having Black friends or just not being racist isn't enough. You've got to be anti-racist.
Absolutely.
What do you do to take steps to stop the conversation in your household? When somebody in your family says, what are they all so angry about? Like, oh my God, get over it. It was a long time ago. Are you speaking up? Are you making yourself uncomfortable? Also, if somebody brings up the word racial wealth gap, do you take the time to go Google that? Are you going to learn what that means? I know for me, I've never watched Yu Tsai, I've never watched so many documentaries about Black history because I realized I don't know shit. I was not taught these things. Yu Tsai, I came from a time where in all of elementary school, because I don't know if you went to elementary school here or did you go back? Oh, you did. Okay. All my elementary school teachers were white, all white women. And I actually eBayed some of my textbooks from back in the day. In 398 pages of my history book in 7th grade, every chapter was about Christopher Columbus and Benjamin Franklin and all these, you know, big figures, which we all now know that Christopher Columbus actually didn't discover America, but this is what I learned then. And then there's 2 tiny pages of slavery, 2 tiny ones, slavery and Harriet Tubman, and then moved right on to the next conquistadors and all the people that, you know, accomplished greatness. When we didn't even recognize that the entire foundation of America, all of our structures and land and buildings, I mean, the way we were built was built off the backs of Black people. Like, I never even understood that. And so I really have been watching so many great documentaries to educate myself, and I understand now. And I too, like you, I'm understanding going back. I'm like, wow, there are so many things I could have said different. I've definitely said I don't see color before. Right. I've definitely sang, you know, when I sing songs, like some of my favorite songs, I've definitely said the N word because it's in the song. I don't use it in regular day, but using it in a song is the same.
And
same
we have
thing.
this idea that because our best friends are Black and you're saying that, you're allowed to say that. And it's, it's so inappropriate. I mean, there's been
I definitely laughed when my family made fun of my skin. Of course I laughed. I was like, stop it, whatever. Like, that makes it okay.
Right, because we perpetuate that notion that if we make it seem like it's okay, therefore it's okay. And our good friends is laughing with us, therefore I can use that joke elsewhere. And I, oh my God, I'm the most inappropriate person. And that's the only reason I was able to make it onto television. I wasn't a lifestyle guru. I was just somebody, my agent actually told everybody I have Tourette's. So I wouldn't get in trouble on set. If I would say something so ludicrous, it's truly trying to get a reaction from whether my crew or from the talent. And when they're in shock or when they're laughing at my inappropriate jokes, and many of them are against myself. That's first of all, let's just say I make fun of myself first.
Sure,
and if that doesn't work, I started bleeding down to my crew. I started making jokes about where I found my crew who's Hispanic.
Right.
But all of it, these people have been working with for 15, 20 years, and we all understand. And what happened is that then when there's somebody on the outside of that people that you've been knowing for 20 years walking on that set, the perception of who they think you are changes. Yeah. And that's what happened with me. And it became a reminder, oh, I'm now a public figure. I need to now go back and apologize if one needs it. And I need to adjust as I move forward. I think it's like such incredible learning for me because in our world of what we do, It is so easy to actually go, I know it all. I've done this. I know who I am. People are laughing and they're clicking the like. So don't tell me how to be somebody else or whatnot. But through this conversation that we're having, and truly, every single day, every single guest on the show has taught me so much more about who I truly need to be. Not who I am yet. I'm still working on that. But who I truly need to be. And one of the main reasons I wanted you on the show, because I interviewed Margaret Cho. And through that time, I actually was researching her podcast, and I heard your podcast with her. And it took me from the soul, because it was all the voices I was afraid to say before. You were so passionate, and I want to talk about that so people know. If you guys haven't heard that podcast, please go listen to Margaret Cho's podcast with this conversation. You address one thing. It's like, let's begin talk about Asian hating Asians. Asian not helping Asians first, before we can talk about solidarity about Asian for Black Lives Matter. Let's address that. And that is so prevalent in our industry. And I want to talk about that because you and I happen to have this love from people in Singapore. We both get to work there because it's such the most incredible melting pot. English, you know, they embrace all different tones of
culture
color. And then culture, the Muslims, the different race. For those who have never visited Singapore, the food is amazing, culture is amazing, it's the cleanest place you will ever visit. And they were the first Asian country I felt embraced my skin tone. Because Taiwan, where I'm from, I'm from Taiwan. And it took me years for Taiwan Vote to say, oh, you're Taiwanese, but you don't look it. I'm like, I speak the language, I want to ship with you guys. It took me 3 years to even to understand how much I want to celebrate my skin color and my origin. I want to work with them. And it's so crazy. And that's the Asian on Asian non-supportive matter. And you in the industry, as you were climbing a ladder, and you climbed that ladder fast. So as you were going through this process, did you encounter that as well in the industry, in the network, as you were working toward your goal?
You're asking from Asians or from other races?
Let's talk about Asians first of all. I think
okay, specifically Asian. Absolutely. I always get the, oh, you don't seem Asian, which immediately in that small statement, I'm like, you do realize you just drew a tiny little box around our people, that they should all look what? The same way and talk the same way, and they all have an accent? Like, that's so, but again, these people don't mean offense. They only speak what they see. And so somebody has to come by and say, actually, Asians come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and experiences, dialects, styles of talking. Have you seen, like, you got a girl from the Bay, so you're going to have somebody who speaks a different way here. But have you met an Asian girl from the Valley? Have you met an Asian girl that's coming from Alaska? I mean, they're all different. I've met Asian girls that live in Colombia and have a beautiful accent and speak Espanol at the same time. So it's like, you know, we have to broaden our horizon there. And then I think the second thing is, when I was starting out in my career, if I met another Asian, and because it's only it's me, Lucy Liu, Lisa Ling, and now Aquafina. Like, there's not many, right? Yes, we love Aquafina, but at the time there weren't any at all. So if I met another Asian whose job was to cast for an Asian role, they always wanted me to play the most Asian style of Asian possible, which means I'd lighten my skin if I want the job. I lighten my skin, I lose maybe about 15 more pounds, and I would dye my hair black and look very, very like actually probably the Taiwanese version of Asian, or maybe like the
stereotype of the
the very Chinese ding 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 ding, like that, the shiny Oriental fabrics and all that. And I'm like, man, that's crazy, because if you don't call on me, you're going to pass the role on to like a few other Asian girls. And that's all we have, because in Hollywood, if you were an Asian woman that was going to take a role, you have to look the stereotypical exotic, by the way. That's a whole nother thing. They want the one that looks sexy, the one that like makes, brings dollars to the box office because you may be a freak, And so, yeah, so I think specific Asians, I remember casting directors asking me, okay, is this skin color only for summer? Are you willing to put on longer eyelashes? Can we straighten your nose more, because a really high nose is really desirable? Dye my hair jet black, or wear a wig. So things like that. And then from non-Asian people, I would get more of, well, okay, so this part, if I'm going to really dive deep, because I've thought about this, and this is why I agree with you, Yu Tsai, this time has been very reflective for me. I remember that my first few jobs were based off of the sexier version of me. So, for example, there was this one job, MTV, I did an audition, and it would have been the first on-camera job that would have allowed me to get to be a part of SAG-AFTRA if I took the job. It was with an actor named Frankie Muniz, and he did a show where he was basically a race car driver, and because he races cars, and he needed two women beside him to just be his hosts, right? So one was a tall, gorgeous Caucasian girl, long legs, bouncy boobs, the whole thing. And then they were like, okay, and you're going to be our exotic Oriental. And I remember, Yu Tsai, I had a moment of crossroads where I can either be the, excuse me, I'm not Oriental, and there's much more to me than just this body, or am I going to take the check and make my way up? And I did B. Now, I'm gonna tell you this because I have a love-hate relationship with that memory. That was one of a few jobs. Thank God I never slept with anybody. Thank God I never went that route. But I absolutely did agree to some of the stereotypes that I would be that were asked of me, because number one, I felt every audition room I walked in, it was all white faces at the time. This is like back in 2000, like maybe 5, right? 2004 to 2005, all white faces. So I thought, if somebody's going to learn about what an Asian sister is like up in here, it's going to be me. I'm not going to leave the room while these white girls get all these jobs when I know I could get the job, because I am attractive, I am smart, I am well-spoken, I am professional, I am talented. I can get the job just like these women, but you're going to actually see a different colored perspective when you hire me. So that's one reason why I took the job. So that's my love side of it, is I represented to get to where I am now. But then my hate side of it, Yu Tsai, is that I realize that part of being Asian, especially being Asian American, is that there's something in my culture that has taught me, maybe specifically my Vietnamese culture. I feel I've been taught to just go with the flow. Don't argue. Don't be the one to cause me. Right. Don't be difficult. Don't be difficult. And I think it has to do with the fact that my parents immigrated here. Both of them had to escape Vietnam, communist circumstances, tiptoe into America to be like, guys, do you mind if I just squeeze in between, you guys, and let me just make a place? And so Yu Tsai, honestly, when I was growing up, I was always afraid of being deported. I had this, even though I'm American, I'm born on American soil, but my parents made me feel like, don't let the cops come and take us. Don't let them make us go back, because they're all refugees. So the mentality is, we don't belong here. So we're just going to do what we're supposed to do, make our money, take care of our family, and don't make any noise. Don't get arrested. Don't get crazy with the law, so that they don't make us go back. And so somewhere that ingrained in me all the way till I was older. And then when it came to jobs where somebody would offend me, I was hustling. So I went one route, but the other side where I felt offended, I didn't speak up. And this led to many problems, not just within racism, but I was sexually abused as a kid. I definitely was offended and absolutely inappropriately approached when I was getting up in the business. Absolutely had my even run-ins with, people like the Harvey Weinsteins, because they're all over. Thankfully, I never was placed in a more dangerous circumstance than just the inappropriate behavior. But even then, I never said anything, Yu Tsai. And so now today, here's the crazy thing. So now today, as my Black brothers and sisters out there are hurting and are over it, hurting over it, and just are ready for this country to make the necessary changes they need to make, I'm furious and I'm angry. And I'm like, wow, I'm fighting and standing up more for my Black brothers and sisters than I even would my own race. And I have to tell you, it's shocking to me to admit this, but when I look at it, I realize I don't I realize that we don't have the same type of connection within all of our races. I don't think Japanese people would stand up for Filipinos. I don't think Mongolian would stand up for Chinese. Like, we all kind of stick to our race. And yes, the dialects make it hard to kind of, stand up for one another, but we are all we have. The Asian American race is beautiful, and we worked so hard to get here. And if anybody knows about racism, we understand what it's like to be oppressed and what it's like. Now, I'm not saying it's the same experience. Of course, never that. But I'm just saying, like, we of all people should understand how we need to ally for each other.
And
but if we haven't done it together, how do we know how to do it outside?
I so appreciate you sharing this, because this has been my struggle for weeks after weeks. In the beginning, we have beautiful, fun conversation on Let's Talk. And then as the Black Lives Movement happened, as Asian for Black Lives is important, I went through the same, I'm still going through it. I go through these horrible images of Asian people being beaten up just 3-4 weeks ago wearing masks. I walked down the street with masks on, people practically spit on me. And now, in this day, it's crazy. And I had posted on Instagram before, I try to not perpetuate the fear, but try to educate. And the DM that comes in are so insanely crazy. I didn't know when to share, how to share. But when Black Lives Matter happened, the movement started pushing. When the Asians started standing up for the Black Lives Matters, I had to take a pause. I had to figure out, where do I stand? Because where were the community that I value and love, who have helped me build my career? I always said, Black community built my career. Absolutely. And I'll share some story with that. But I did not know how to be. So I began to call Miss J. I literally called my Black friends. It sounds so ignorant. I had to call my Black friends and check in with them and said, what do I do? And it wasn't until I talked to Margaret Cho and Lisa Ling, who I absolutely respect, and they just said, they will. But you got to do what you need to do, what's right, but they will be there. This is the time for solidarity. This is the time that we will be there. No other time better than now. And in ways to forgive and forget, right? And I don't want to forget, so I had to learn how to change myself.
Yes.
And my producer, Trevor, is listening now. Every day he has to remind me, let it go. This happens all the time in our industry, and I hope the industry started to change. I saw the open letter for Essence Magazine. I was with them for 2.5 years, so I have my own experience with them. And I see the Black on Black hates too. And all that stuff, I'm so happy that's coming to the surface. A lot of it, I'm going to come to that surface with it. I have inappropriate stuff that somebody's going to bring out. And I ask people to bring it to me, so allow me to at least apologize, allow me to make it right. But this is definitely the time of, I feel like a freaking tuna being shaped into raw sushi for everybody to eat out to, And I had to come to terms and say, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
But part of what your story you're telling me about Asians and competing in the business, and I'll tell you a funny story, because when I saw you on E! and Style Network, you were doing makeover shows.
Yeah.
And I was then at the time starting to hit the reality TV circuit as a creative director for Top Model.
Okay.
So I had many interviews with E, and my goal was to be on the show with you, because I find being next to Asian people is more powerful. It's like opening a Chinese restaurant. You open a Chinese restaurant next to a Chinese restaurant. Open it somewhere that there's no other Chinese restaurant. And this is literally, I was told, we don't need another Asian person. The host is already Asian. And it wasn't because of it wasn't.
You're kidding me.
And the people who said that are no longer there. So guys, don't come for me at E, because I love you guys, and you guys always bring me into rooms to read and stuff. I get done. And there's another one, I'll tell you. I read for a pilot to host for a show for them. And I did all these readings, and I got feedback, and I went back in again. They said to me, do you know Iron Chef Japan? I go, yeah. Can you be more like that guy and go, hello, welcome to the show? Literally, I stood there.
Wow.
I walked away from that job.
Yeah,
that job
hell
never
yeah.
got picked up.
Right.
It never got picked up, so you guys were wrong. I literally went, what? And I don't know how many times people say, well, you're just not gay enough, or you're not Asian enough. And that's why I love Singapore. And I celebrate them because I created a show called Street to Kitchen Asia, because I want to celebrate the food. I want to celebrate the culture of Taiwan.
Yeah.
And I went to Singapore and got the sponsorship out there, and we got made. It was on Net Geo, it's on Fox. It's and that's like one of my proudest moments, because then I actually realized how important my community is. Because growing up, I'm sure you've gone through it, that you hide your Asianness, right? You're like, oh, maybe you see me as white, so I can be part of this opportunity that's out there.
Yeah,
and
you Americanize it.
And I went through this long period of time wondering, okay, I always gonna have this Taiwanese screwed up accent because I lived so many different places. My grammar never gonna be correct because I'm dyslexic. I read teleprompters backwards, and that's always been like my scare. But funny thing is, what I learned is, when I went to Singapore, everybody has an accent. They're also diverse, and they embrace all of them. And I couldn't be more proud that I needed to go back to Asia to learn that I'm valued.
Wow.
You know, and you were part of that journey, because when I saw you went back to Asia to work, I was blown away, because you know how many people who become successful in America as Asian that actually would go back to Asia and work.
Yeah, not many. Not many.
Not many. So I thank you for that, because you have been such inspiration to me, not just in just in your actions. You know, in your action, what you're doing, your dating life, your pureness, and that's why I'm really so proud of the real, because you keep it real there so much, and the diversity of conversation that you bring, and the candidness that you are here today, is what I hope that Asian people can learn, that we don't have to be invisible, and we should never be invisible. You know?
And this is major of you. Thank you for doing this IG Live. Like, thank you for allowing us to have a window into experience, perspective, because no Asian walk is the same, which is why we need to always come with open ears, always be open to listen. I mean, right now is the best time to learn the art of listening. The art of listening is truly dropping everything that you have ever thought, or what you're doing in 5 minutes, your schedule, what phone you're texting and checking on. No, it's drop everything to listen to a person's experience. Feel the way their eyes change when they tell you about the different moments of their failures and their upcomings. You know, make sure that you ask the right questions to get people to really open up and share what it is you want them to know about them. And this means especially for people of color, especially for Black friends. You need to, as you did, reach out. And I think it's one thing to ask, you know, what can I be doing? But it's also another to just be asked, how are you? How are you doing? And just check in, and don't put any pressure already on Black people to have to tell you the things that you should go do yourself. You should go and learn yourself. You don't ask your friends for book recommendations and what documentaries you need to watch. Your ass is grown. You can go and do that yourself. These people are living this experience, and you expect them to now like go relive it in order to teach your ass. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So it is really great to have social media right now. Like, Instagram has been so helpful to, you know, post and share beautiful speeches by James Baldwin, and, you know, the Angela Rye's in the world are so great. And Charlemagne the God is doing an amazing job to help educate us. Amanda Seales, she's also wonderful in teaching us how to understand the times and what we can be doing out here, and adding some humor as well, because we do have to also laugh while we go and still fight for Breonna Taylor's family.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so yeah, it's a lot going on, but so much to do. Nobody should be bored right now.
Well, I you know, when you earlier you said that we have this distance thing that we're supposed to keep 6 feet apart, and I've been championing this over and over. I said, if you're in 6 feet distance, you can actually share kindness and love, and that's more meaningful than the 6 feet apart from each other. And that goes from everywhere, from the food industry to the fashion industry to the television industry. I think this is definitely the time that I feel that I'm the most naive, and at the same time most open, and working to learn. And yes, at times I'm beating myself up, but God knows it's necessary. It's painful, it's necessary, and I hope, and I said this over and over, I hope the pendulum does swing so far that when I show up on every set, I'm asked to shoot a color person, and I'm asked to shoot color. I didn't say Black, I said color, because of all range of color. And I hope that editor-in-chiefs in positions are replaced with people with more diverse ideas. I don't care about what color she is that gets hired. I care about the idea that's in behind those eyes, and actually stop perpetuating the notion that only the light color celebrity can be on cover of magazines who happen to be Black. And I'm saying that because you guys are listening, or editors are listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because we have these discussions all the time. And we have discussions about lightening the skin a little bit when we do the cover, or darkening the skin a little bit because, you know, we want to talk to this audience. Let people be real. Let's get real, seriously. And exactly. We can get into this to the point that I'll start screaming because, you know, in our industry.
Oh, I know how passionate you are. Yes.
We live in this bubble, and I'm so glad somebody's bursting that bubble for me to say, you know what, if you don't like it, say it. Are you wanting to lose job over it? You better want to, because that's what's going to make a difference. You know, I was talking to Sir John, who absolutely loves a makeup artist. We did American Beauty Star together with Ashley Graham. And he's calling out his own company that he works with, L'Oreal and all these other brands. He says, because if I don't do that, what good is it I'm standing here and being an activist? I'm just taking the paycheck. And I
didn't know he was doing that. I'm going to look into that. That's really
oh my
cool.
God. We did a talk last week, and not funny, but we had a pre-talk an hour before. We both in full tears. He goes, okay, finally the tears are out. We can actually talk live. he's like, don't you dare make me cry on the show. So we kept that aside. But
I'm going to check it out.
How raw we are and how passionate we are. And I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it now, is that I always said that the Black community have given me the opportunity in this industry because they never judged me. Tyra Banks opened the opportunity for me to be on television, being at the time Quasian, right, on the Crazy Asian, to be on the show. And because of that, it opened such an amazing gateway for my career to grow. And at the time, I started shooting for Essence magazine. And for 2 years, I shot so many covers for them, and that was my first education. And I said this, and I'll say it again, is that when I was shooting for Essence magazine, how proud I am being by Janet Jacksons and all these amazing A-list celebrities of color. But at the same time, the white publications shone against me and would not work with me because I'm shooting for Essence. That better change, you guys. That needs a change. That's what happens. And that's what happened before. And it's still happening now because people are still having that dialogue. And that's and I am using this platform to vent. I'm using the platform hopefully to make a change. And I know that when I see Aya, the you know, Asian American being a Marie Claire editor-in-chief, that's when I just go. Yeah. And she puts a Black woman on the cover, her first issue.
Wow.
That's why we are Asian for Black Lives Matters, and that's why solidarity and that's why inclusion, it is so important. It's so important. And I'm not saying because you're white you won't do the right thing. I'm just saying it's time for a change, and you figure out how you want to change. You know.
I agree with you 100%. It's time for a change.
You got me all worked up. See what you done to me.
But this is something to get worked up about. You should get emotional about this. And number one thing that you should check and recognize is your privileges. You should absolutely know what your privileges are. What are your advantages in this world? And then how are you using them to help the Black community? How are you using it to help fight for equality? How are you using it to help champion for all these families that need to fight for justice? You know, I know right now
for women, please. Equal pay for color. Equal pay for age. You know what? I'll give you this too. Miss J and I were on the same show, and this happened in Asia, and we know the pay sheet came down. And Asian wants to pay Asian less. What's that about? They don't want to pay each other. You know what? I told Miss J, I go, you're getting paid more than me. We're doing the same thing. You know that, right? He's like, why is that happening? I go, because I'm Asian, therefore they think I shouldn't get paid as much. You're American, you get paid more. This is nonstop. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's devastating. For me right now, the focus is definitely Black Lives Matter. And it means I need to learn my privileges, whether it's my platforms that I have or even friends that I have, how to connect and cross-intersect these communities so people can serve other people. I know that right now is a very difficult time, and we are at the highest unemployment rates ever for the history of America. And many people have lost their jobs. Many people are lost, don't know what to do. But here's the thing. You have the same talent. No matter how many months this quarantine is going on, you still can draw. You still can do coding. You still can build websites. So guess what you should be doing? You should be reaching out to these families that are in distress and hoping to create enough traction or attention and make them a video. If you're a great videographer, reach out to one of these organizations, these grassroots organizations that are fighting for Black Lives Matter, and try to make them a website. Maybe make them a social media feed. Take some beautiful pictures for them so that these organizations can get the right attention that they deserve. I have a friend who's a makeup artist, and she's obviously out of business right now. She used to do my makeup, and right now, her business has been totally dead. She reached out to Ahmaud Arbery's mom and said, hey, I'd love to do your makeup for these CNN interviews that you're doing. Not only did that lift the spirits of this woman, but it also just let her blend with the community that really is needing support and needs a ear. Sometimes it's just an emotional person to be there to treat you and pamper you and make you feel better. And then my friend became more of an activist because she met Ahmaud Arbery's mom and realized the injustice that's out there and how hard it is to just get one interview to talk about your son that's died in the most murderous way. That's deplorable for us to even have watched that video, So this is the type of thing that I'm saying everybody can help. Whether you can build a house, build a website, you can find something to do, trust me. So go and check out either the grassroots organizations that are out there trying to promote Black Lives Matter, or check in with the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. They have a list of the families, their lawyers, the steps that have been taken for them to, get out there and vote. I know that during the voting, now during the elections for all these cities, you saw what happened in Georgia, Atlanta, where all the lines were over 3 hours long and the voting booths closed early. If you have a pizza restaurant, bring a pizza out to these people who are waiting in lines. If you have time to go stop and buy a couple crates of water, get some cold water out to these people. It was over 92 degrees that day while people were waiting in line to vote. So there's always something that you can do. And so besides sitting at home and watching documentaries or calling your friends, to see how they're doing, go out there and just take action.
And the biggest action that we all can do, especially the Asian community and the Hispanic community with the lowest turnout in the red states. You don't like what you're seeing now, you have to be willing to stand in line like the Black community do, and Black always show up and wait in line for that one vote because they value that one vote. And I can tell you, we don't do enough. And that's one of the initiatives I want to make sure that I'm involved with. Adopt a state that's red and promote voting for the minority, because your votes,
that's a good one.
Vote is so important. And listen, I'm in California. I don't need to adopt this state. We're good. You gotta find.
Yeah, but you're right. Pick out a state that's in the red and do what you got to do to make sure you help push that vote. You are absolutely right, Yu Tsai. That's a really good idea.
Well, thank you so much for today. And one thing I want to leave everybody with is that when you hear Black Lives Matter, it means you matter. It really does. And when I begin to understand that, I can then stand there and say Asians for Black matters. And we all go through at different time. I completely understand. And by watching you, Jenny, by following you, listen to your shows and how you are so open, it just continue to shatter all those perceptions of what we cannot do to that we can do. And I hope you can come back with me again, because I know you're so inspiring to so many people and there's so many stories we can share. And what a privilege to have you here with me. And thank you so much for supporting the Asian community.
Of course. I'm here for you, Yu Tsai. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm here for you. I'm here for your IG Live. Yu Tsai community, take care of each other.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
Bye.
So guys, that's why she is the Emmy-winning host. I am so privileged to have her here today. And I have to say, it is such a cathartic feeling and an amazing moment to be able to breathe, to speak to someone who has gone through a similar journey with me. And that's the same notion why Black Lives Matters and why people are out there protesting, because they all have gone through these different journeys on their own, but collectively the injustice is out there. And I thank you guys out there for listening and allow me to be here to continue to learn. Allow me to make it right for you guys. I have learned so much. This week has been an incredible lesson for me, because I cannot just be here and talk and not walk the walk. And that is my purpose and my goal for myself. And please, you guys out there, keep me accountable, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here with me.